Nobody believed in me. I can still remember the faces, the raised eyebrows, and the words dripping with doubt when I shared my dreams, my ambitions, or even the simplest ideas I had. They said it couldn't be done. They said I was aiming too high. They said I should settle for what was realistic because the world wasn't yet ready to see someone like me succeed, and for a long time I listened. For a long time I let the voices outside dictate the limits inside my mind. I doubted myself. I questioned my abilities. I felt small and invisible in a world that seemed determined to ignore my potential. But then, I realized something powerful. No one's belief could ever be as important as my own. The moment I truly started believing in myself, the entire game changed. That is the power of self-belief. Self-belief is not just a positive mindset. It is a force that can move mountains, break barriers, and create opportunities where none seem to exist. When nobody believed in me, self-belief became the spark that lit the fire within me. It is easy to follow the opinions of others because they seem louder, more confident, and more convincing. But relying solely on others for validation is like trying to sail a ship using someone else's compass. You may drift, get lost, or never reach your destination. Believing in yourself is the compass that guides you, the anchor that steadies you in storms, and the fuel that keeps you moving when the journey seems impossible. I remember one particular moment when self-belief revealed its true power. I had just faced another rejection, another closed door, another person telling me that my ideas were too ambitious, that my dreams were too far-fetched. I felt the weight of all those opinions pressing down on me. I could have given up. I could have allowed their disbelief to define my limits. But instead, I paused and asked myself a simple question: do I believe in me? And the answer was louder than any criticism, louder than any doubt, louder than the whispers of the world. I believed in my vision. I believed in my ability to learn, to grow, to overcome. I believed that if I kept pushing forward, the world would have no choice but to recognize my efforts. That simple act of choosing to believe in myself, even when nobody else did, shifted everything. Believing in yourself does not mean that challenges disappear. It does not mean that the path becomes smooth or that failure stops knocking at your door. On the contrary, believing in yourself means that when failure comes, you see it as a lesson, not a verdict. When doubt comes, you see it as a challenge to prove yourself, not a reason to quit. When others question your ability, you respond not with anger, but with quiet determination and relentless action. Self-belief is not arrogance. It is not thinking you are better than anyone else. It is the unwavering certainty that your potential is worth fighting for, even when the world says otherwise. The power of self-belief also changes the way you see opportunities. When nobody believed in me, doors that seemed closed forever began to open once I trusted my own abilities. I started taking risks, not reckless risks, but calculated steps fueled by confidence in my preparation, my skills, and my resilience. I started seeing obstacles as stepping stones, criticism as a signal to sharpen my approach, and rejection as a temporary setback rather than a permanent defeat. Self-belief gave me the courage to step into rooms where I had once felt unwelcome, to speak up when I had once been silent, and to chase opportunities I had once thought were impossible. Perhaps the most extraordinary part of self-belief is its ripple effect. When you believe in yourself, you inspire others to believe in you too. People are drawn to confidence, to determination, and to the quiet strength of someone who refuses to be limited by external doubt. Slowly, the very people who once doubted me began to see what I had always known. My potential was real, my dedication was unwavering, and my dreams were achievable. The world started catching up with my vision because I had caught up with myself first. Self-belief is contagious. When you embody it, you elevate those around you, showing them that their own doubts are not chains but challenges, waiting to be overcome. Self-belief is also a shield. In a world where criticism is easy and support is scarce, believing in yourself provides the protection you need to move forward. It allows you to walk with your head held high, even when others whisper you can't. It allows you to take bold steps, even when the path ahead is unclear. It allows you to embrace your uniqueness and pursue your dreams unapologetically. The moment I internalized this truth, I realized that nobody's disbelief could ever stop me unless I allowed it to, and I refused to allow it. Nobody believed in me until I did. That belief transformed my life, not because it changed others immediately, but because it changed me. It gave me courage when I felt fear, focus when I felt scattered, and determination when I felt weak. It taught me that while external validation is temporary and conditional, self-belief is permanent and unconditional. It is the foundation upon which every achievement is built, the fire that turns dreams into reality, and the silent force that pushes you to keep going when the world turns its back. If there is one message I want to leave with anyone listening today, it is this: the most important person to believe in is yourself. The world may doubt you, criticize you, or ignore you, but your own belief can carry you farther than anything else. When you trust in your potential, commit to your vision, and act with confidence, nobody's disbelief can stop you. You become unstoppable, not because the world finally believes in you, but because you believed in yourself first. Self-belief is your secret weapon, your guiding light, and your ultimate power. Nobody believed in me until I did, and the moment I did, everything changed. Nobody believed in me. Every time I took a step forward, there seemed to be someone ready to tell me I was wrong, that I wasn't capable, that I shouldn't even try. The world has a way of teaching you about your limits, long before you ever test them. Rejection and criticism often come dressed as casual remarks, polite advice, or blunt dismissal, but they all carry the same message: you're not enough. And for a while, I believed it. I felt the sting of words meant to discourage, the weight of doubt from people whose opinions I had valued, and the quiet pressure of a world that seemed to expect me to fail. But then I realized something powerful. Facing rejection and criticism is not the end of the road. It is the beginning of a stronger, more determined self. Rejection is painful. It shakes your confidence and tests your resolve. I remember sending my ideas, proposals, and even personal goals out into the world, only to be met with silence, disinterest, or outright no. Each rejection felt like a personal failure, like the world was telling me I didn't have what it takes. It is hard not to internalize these setbacks, to let them define your worth. But over time, I learned that rejection is not a reflection of your potential. It is simply a reflection of someone else's perspective, someone else's limitations, or timing that wasn't right yet. Rejection teaches you resilience. It forces you to reassess, improve, and find the path that truly works for you. Every no I received became a lesson. Every closed door a reminder that my destination might be around the next corner, waiting for me to persist. Criticism is equally challenging. Unlike rejection, which may come once and vanish, criticism often lingers. It comes in the form of feedback, judgment, or unsolicited advice that can make you question your abilities, your choices, and even your identity. When nobody believed in me, criticism felt like a spotlight on my weaknesses rather than an acknowledgement of my effort. People pointed out flaws, questioned my decisions, and doubted my vision. And yes, at first it hurt. I wanted to retreat, to hide, to avoid the discomfort of being scrutinized. But then I realized something. Criticism is not the enemy. It is a tool. It is a mirror that shows you areas where you can grow, where you can sharpen your skills, and where you can strengthen your determination. Facing criticism head-on gave me clarity. It helped me separate constructive advice from negativity, and allowed me to turn what could have been discouragement into fuel for improvement. The key to navigating rejection and criticism is perspective. You can choose to let them define you, or you can choose to let them refine you. I chose the latter. Every time someone said I couldn't, I reminded myself that their doubt was not mine to carry. Every time someone criticized my abilities, I used it as a challenge to prove not to them, but to myself, that I was capable. I learned to welcome feedback with curiosity, not fear, and to view rejection as a sign that I was pushing boundaries and taking risks. After all, if no one is criticizing you, if no one is rejecting your ideas, maybe you're not trying hard enough. Rejection and criticism are proof that you are visible, that you are ambitious, that you are daring to step beyond comfort zones that others may never leave. Facing rejection and criticism also requires patience and resilience. Success rarely comes on the first try. I faced setbacks that made me question whether I should continue, moments when I wondered if my efforts were wasted, and times when it felt like everyone was against me. Yet each time I persisted, I discovered a deeper strength within myself. I realized that every no and every critique was not a signal to stop, but an invitation to adapt, learn, and keep moving forward. Resilience is built in those moments of discomfort, in the spaces where doubt and rejection collide with determination and courage. It is in these moments that you develop the mindset of someone who refuses to quit, even when the world seems to be telling you that quitting is the easier choice. There is also a profound lesson in understanding that rejection and criticism are often reflections of others' limitations, not your own. People project their fears, insecurities, and experiences onto others. When someone doubts you, it often says more about them than about you. When someone criticizes you harshly, it may reveal their discomfort with change, their inability to see potential, or their fear that you will succeed where they did not. Realizing this frees you from the weight of their opinions. You begin to see that the only person whose belief truly matters is your own, and that the only standards you must meet are those you set for yourself. Facing rejection and criticism also teaches humility and empathy. When I experienced setbacks and heard harsh words, I learned to remain grounded and to appreciate the journey of growth. I began to understand that everyone has battles we may not see, and that criticism often comes from a place of misunderstanding or lack of perspective. It taught me to listen, reflect, and respond thoughtfully rather than react emotionally. It helped me develop a thicker skin while maintaining a kind heart, a balance between confidence and humility. A capacity to rise above negativity without losing my sense of self. Nobody believed in me, and yet, I kept going. I took each rejection, each criticism, and turned it into a stepping stone. I refused to let others' disbelief dictate my reality. I learned to embrace failure as a teacher, doubt as a motivator, and critique as a guide. And slowly, as I faced rejection and criticism without fear, I began to see results. I began to see progress. I began to see my dreams take shape, not because everyone else finally believed, but because I refused to stop believing in myself. Facing rejection and criticism does not make you weaker, it makes you stronger. It reveals your courage, sharpens your skills, and prepares you for the victories that are yet to come. Nobody believed in me. I could feel it every time I shared my dreams, every time I dared to speak about my ambitions, every time I took a step forward that felt too bold for someone like me. People doubted my abilities, questioned my choices, and sometimes even laughed at my vision. I can still remember the whispers, the skeptical looks, and the words meant to shake my confidence. At first it hurt. I felt the sting of disbelief like an invisible weight pressing down on my shoulders. It was easy to sink into the doubt that others projected onto me, to let it invade my mind and convince me that maybe they were right. But then something shifted. I realized that the very doubt that others cast upon me could become the most powerful fuel for my journey. I discovered that when you turn doubt into motivation, it transforms fear into action, uncertainty into determination, and criticism into opportunity. Doubt is inevitable. No matter how capable you are, no matter how much preparation you put in, there will always be people who question you. They will say you're not ready, not skilled enough, or not deserving of success. Sometimes doubt comes from strangers, sometimes from friends, and sometimes, most painfully, from within yourself. And yet, it is in that doubt where true strength can be found. I learned that every time someone doubted me, I had a choice. I could let it defeat me or I could let it drive me. I chose the latter. I realized that the people who doubted me were unintentionally giving me a gift, a reason to push harder, to work smarter, and to prove to myself that my potential was far greater than anyone's skepticism. Turning doubt into motivation begins with a mindset shift. Doubt is not an enemy, it is a challenge. It is a signal that you are stepping outside of your comfort zone, that you are pursuing something bigger than what is familiar, and that you are attempting to do what others may fear or fail to understand. Instead of shrinking from doubt, I started to see it as an indicator that I was on the right path. The louder the disbelief, the clearer it became that I was aiming high. The more people said it couldn't be done, the more determined I became to do it. Doubt stopped being a barrier and became a compass pointing toward growth, opportunity, and success. I remember a time when doubts surrounded me from every angle. People questioned my choices, my skills, and even my right to dream the way I did. It was overwhelming, and for a moment, I felt like giving up. But then I asked myself a simple question. If I succeed despite their doubt, how powerful will that victory feel? That thought alone was enough to ignite a fire within me. Every ounce of doubt became a reason to rise, every skeptical comment became fuel to prove to myself that I was capable, and every challenge became a stepping stone rather than a roadblock. Doubt, I realized, is only powerful if you let it control you. If you harness it, it can push you further than any encouragement ever could. Turning doubt into motivation also requires action. It's not enough to feel determined. Determination must be paired with consistent effort. Each time someone doubted me, I committed to doing something tangible, learning a new skill, taking a bold step, or refining my approach. Doubt became a daily reminder that I could not afford to stand still. The energy that could have been spent feeling discouraged was redirected into progress, into mastering my craft, into building resilience. When you act in response to doubt, you are no longer a victim of others' disbelief. You are the author of your own story, the architect of your own success, and the unstoppable force driving yourself forward. There is also a profound psychological shift that occurs when you turn doubt into motivation. The people who doubted me had tried to define my limits, but in embracing their doubt as fuel, I discovered that my limits were far beyond what anyone else could see. Doubt pushed me to explore my own abilities, to stretch beyond comfort, and to achieve more than I had ever imagined. It forced me to confront fear, uncertainty, and insecurity, and in doing so, I became stronger, more confident, and more capable. Doubt became a teacher rather than a tormentor, showing me not what I lacked, but what I could achieve if I refused to give in. The beauty of turning doubt into motivation is that it creates a cycle of self-reinforcement. Each time I faced skepticism and acted anyway, I proved to myself that I could overcome. Each success, no matter how small, chipped away at the power of doubt, and each step forward inspired even more confidence, not only in myself but in others who began to notice my determination. Doubt, once a weight, became the wings that lifted me higher. Every "you can't" became a "watch me," and every "no" became a "yes, I will." Nobody believed in me, until I did. And in choosing to turn doubt into motivation, I realized that the only opinion that truly matters is my own. The world may continue to question you, challenge you, or even ridicule your ambition, but when you use that doubt as fuel, it transforms from an obstacle into a catalyst. It becomes a source of strength, a motivator for action, and a reminder that the path to success is never without resistance. Doubt is not a roadblock. It is a signal that you are pushing the boundaries of what is possible. It is proof that you are dreaming big, thinking boldly, and refusing to settle for less. When nobody believed in me, I discovered the extraordinary power of turning doubt into motivation. Every challenge, every skeptic, every criticism became a reason to rise, to work harder, and to prove to myself that I was capable of far more than anyone could imagine. And that is the lesson I want to leave for anyone listening. When the world doubts you, don't let it defeat you. Let it drive you. Let it sharpen your focus, ignite your ambition, and push you toward the greatness that only you can achieve. Doubt may follow you, but when you turn it into motivation, it can never stop you. Nobody believed in me. Every time I tried, every time I reached for something bigger than myself, there was someone ready to tell me I wouldn't make it. Every dream I dared to chase was met with skepticism. Every step forward was questioned. And every success I imagined seemed impossible to others. At first, their disbelief shook me. I questioned my choices, doubted my abilities, and sometimes felt like giving up. But I quickly realized that the people who doubted me were not my limits. My limits were defined only by my willingness to persist, and my capacity to remain resilient in the face of adversity. Persistence and resilience became my armor, the force that allowed me to continue when the world wanted me to stop, and the strength that carried me through every obstacle that threatened to derail me. Persistence is the refusal to give up, no matter how difficult the journey becomes. It is the ability to continue working toward your goal when setbacks, failures, and challenges appear to be insurmountable. I learned early on that the road to success is rarely a straight line. There are twists, turns, and obstacles that will test every ounce of your resolve. Every rejection, every doubt, every criticism is a challenge designed not to stop you, but to measure how badly you want it. I discovered that those who achieve greatness are not always the most talented or the most intelligent, but often those who refuse to quit, those who persist when the odds are stacked against them, and those who rise after every fall. Persistence is the quiet, determined voice inside you that Keep going. You are closer than you think. Resilience is what allows persistence to last. It is the ability to recover quickly from difficulties, to bounce back stronger after failure, and to maintain focus and determination even when the world seems to be against you. There were moments when I failed spectacularly, when doors closed, when opportunities slipped away, and when people's disbelief felt like a heavy weight on my shoulders. But resilience allowed me to stand up each time, dust myself off, and try again. It taught me that failure is not permanent, disappointment is not the end, and temporary setbacks are not indicators of worth or ability. Resilience is what turns a temporary defeat into a lesson, a momentary disappointment into motivation, and a painful experience into fuel for future success. Persistence and resilience are inseparable. Persistence without resilience becomes stubbornness, blind effort without learning from setbacks. Resilience without persistence becomes endurance without progress, surviving without striving. Together, they form the foundation of achievement. I realize that every day, no matter how small the step, matters. Every decision to keep going, every refusal to quit, builds momentum. Success is not always about speed, it is about consistency. It is about showing up, doing the work, and refusing to be defeated by temporary obstacles. When nobody believed in me, my persistence became a declaration. I might fail today, I might stumble tomorrow, but I will never stop. I remember one period when everything seemed to be falling apart. Plans failed, opportunities vanished, and the people around me doubted my ability to succeed. It was overwhelming, and the easiest choice would have been to give up. But persistence refused to let me quit. Resilience reminded me that failure is only a chapter, not the entire story. I took each setback, examined what went wrong, learned the lesson, and moved forward. Slowly but surely, the pieces started to fall into place. Each small victory, each incremental improvement reinforced my determination. The very things that could have broken me instead built me. The moment I committed to persistence and resilience, I realized that external belief, validation, or approval was not required for me to succeed. Persistence and resilience also change the way you view challenges. Obstacles are no longer roadblocks but tests of your commitment. Rejection becomes feedback, failure becomes guidance, and difficulty becomes an opportunity to grow stronger. I learned to embrace adversity rather than fear it, to welcome difficulties as a chance to prove my dedication, and to understand that the longer and harder the battle, the more meaningful the victory. When nobody believed in me, every challenge became a stepping stone. Every setback became a reason to push harder. Every moment of doubt from others fueled my determination to persist. One of the most powerful lessons I learned through persistence and resilience is that success is not about perfection. It is about continuous effort, learning from mistakes, and refusing to let failure define you. The path to achievement is never linear. It is full of detours, setbacks, and moments of uncertainty. But those who persist, those who remain resilient, are the ones who ultimately prevail. I began to see that resilience is not just the ability to endure, it is the ability to adapt, to adjust your strategies, and to grow through the very struggles that seem unbearable. Persistence is the daily commitment to continue, and resilience is the inner strength that makes that commitment sustainable. Nobody believed in me, and that was a blessing in disguise. Their disbelief forced me to find belief within myself, to cultivate a persistence that would not falter, and to develop a resilience that could withstand any storm. I discovered that the world may doubt you, criticize you, or try to discourage you, but as long as you refuse to quit and remain resilient, nothing can stop you. The journey may be hard, the path may be uncertain, and the obstacles may seem impossible, but persistence and resilience ensure that you keep moving forward, step by step, day by day, until you reach what others said was unattainable. The true power of persistence and resilience is that they make you unstoppable. They teach you patience, fortitude, and courage. They allow you to face challenges without fear, to rise after every fall, and to continue striving even when nobody else believes in you. When nobody believed in me, persistence and resilience became my unwavering companions. They became the driving forces that turned doubt into determination, obstacles into opportunities, and disbelief into undeniable proof that I could achieve what I set out to do. And that is the lesson. No matter how many people doubt you, no matter how many times you fail, persistence and resilience, NCE will carry you farther than talent, luck, or external approval ever could.